Okay, welcome everyone in a new location today. Can you hear me okay? Okay, just waiting for Michael to come on.
I'm on.
Oh, you're on. Okay. Do you want to do a bit of a
Sure. All
intro?
right. Welcome, everyone, to Augmented Awakening 2.0 with Anand Rao. This is we're on session 5 of 12 today, and this is an exciting shift. We're moving from just being content or coaching oriented to basing it around a prompt that you can learn, use, iterate with in the class, and then use it forever on your own or with others. So the first time we're doing this experiment, and I particularly appreciate talking to Anand about prompts because he always comes up with perspectives on prompting than I would based on his background in lots of different areas. So we're in for a treat today. So thank you, Anand, for doing this again, as always. And I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, welcome everyone. Um, so the first thing to note is there's something going on with the sharpness on my camera. So I appear like I'm coming in from a different dimension with all this glittery thing. So I hope I can forgive that. I will figure that out another time. It's still me. This representation and this consciousness is still here. So, all right. So everyone take a breath. Put your feet on the ground for a second. And today we're going to look at not just, okay, here's a prompt, copy paste, switch off brain, put it into ChatGPT and get an answer. What I want to encourage today is to go through the process that you might use to get creative with your own prompting. So starting in a certain place, because what's amazing now is that what's changed is that ChatGPT can look at all of your own individual history and use that in order to be able to tailor to you specifically. Is everyone aware of that change has happened? Okay. So this brings all kinds of new possibilities in terms of individual personal transformation, change, education. There was some talk about the idea that for the kids of the future, that GPT or the AIs of the future will be able to cultivate, curate a unique syllabus for what people want to learn and tailor it to their learning styles. And to a degree, that's what Montessori was. There's some truth to that in some of the Steiner schools. Richard Bandler, who started NLP, was very against the Montessori schools because he would take your learning method and then everything would be tailored in those schools, the idea originally, exactly to that, right? Rather than actually, as human beings, we need variation. We need things that we go, huh, and scratch our heads and go, what is, what is this, right? And wrestle with things in the world. And rather than challenges, we need to engage with our experience. Nassim Taleb wrote a book called Anti-Fragile. So if we just only do what's comfortable to us, or actually not comfortable, only what is familiar to us, then we don't grow as quickly. I'm not a fan of this growth only occurs outside your comfort zone. That's not true. You can go to a new city, explore, it can be exciting and you can be learning. So we don't have to be outside of our comfort zone in order to learn. We can have comfortable creative learning as well. All right. So put in the chat when you read the description for today, and Michael, if you can pop that up, so in case people can have a look, or I can get it as
Give
well.
me 1 second, upload.
Yeah, sure. Because here's a primary way of thinking about this is we're not just starting with GPT as some kind of blank state. We are starting with assumptions, lenses, perspectives, things where when you read the description of today, that is a prompt. It's a prompt for us to see what pops out of our own minds and thoughts, right? Everyone here is their own large language model that would come up with something a little bit different. So put in the chat what came up when you saw this kind of angle change towards prompting. There we go. Thank you, Kevin. Right. And I've already started, actually. I'll give the first prompt in a minute. Right. Excited, curious, nervous. Good, good, healthy. I recalled a conversation a month ago. Okay. Unique use of the prompt. Yeah. Excited to see how we apply the liminality, liminal, as in liminal space. I talk about that a fair amount. It's the edge between the complete known and the completely ambiguous. How we apply liminality in the teaching of prompts. Okay, excited to see where this can take us. Vibe prompting. Okay, I like it. All right. So the plan today is that I'll give you essentially a prompt to create a starter prompt. So one of the ideas here is iteration and recursion, that we don't just give one prompt. Very often when I'm using GPT, I will throw in using just natural language. So not trying to be really clever about it and go, here's my thoughts, blah, 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 blah. Can you please put this into a more coherent prompt for me? And this I do this a lot, especially with images, right? Because if you try and give it an image, and we very often miss bits out, so you can put it in, go, give me a prompt for this. You can read that and go, is that the description I was looking for? And if the answer's no, then there's a little iterative cycle to go around to go define a prompt for the image I want to create. Does that make sense to everyone? Right? Right. So how many people have been in front of GPT and said, how do I XYZ? How do I, right? And yet what you could do is put that in and say, how do I use GPT, right? So this idea that there is always a next step function, that we don't have to get paralyzed at any point. Literally sitting in front of something that can help us with the thing that we think we don't know how to do in terms of being able to use AI. Okay. Right. So best to use ChatGPT or Claude if we have the choice. So we'll have our preferences. At the moment, one of the reasons I'm using GPT a lot, and I continue to use it, is because of this feature of being able that it can access every previous chat you've had. And I'll show you. I'll show you my example of using this particular starter prompt, and so you can see the value of the fact that it can go back and look at every previous prompt I've ever done, every conversation I've ever had with it. Does it make sense? Yeah. All right, cool. So, I think everyone knows who I am. So, shall I skip that bit, Michael? Is there any
Have
new?
you, you're always growing and evolving. How would you
Who am
describe
I
yourself
today?
differently in the past month from who were you a month ago?
This is Anand 13th of May, 2025. Yeah, and that's the point, right? We all are like this. We're all continuously evolving as we learn and grow and change. So I'll just do that then. All right. So, uh, share screen. Second. So my background is that I did a theoretical physics degree, and then another year of advanced mathematics at Cambridge University in the UK. And then I realized that I was going more and more into some kind of strange ivory tower of abstraction and not in the real world. So I thought, well, what's the opposite of that? So I joined the oil industry and kind of did that for 20 something years, developing oil and gas fields and doing debt financing and asset evaluation and various other things. But during that period, I knew that I never wanted to be just in the oil industry. It was not my thing. So, and therefore, I started my personal development journey in my 20s, in my late 20s, mid 20s, late 20s. I was reading a lot. And then I thought, okay, you can't get this from books. You have to go to seminars and live experience, which has actually shaped how I think about training and teaching. That what changes us is our lived experience, right? If we can go through an experience and run it through our nervous systems, then this is now embodied learning rather than just some kind of theoretical ideas. So I'm now a coach, trainer, and really my curiosity and interest is how can we develop methodologies and processes for surprisingly elegant change? None of this no pain, no gain. Change is hard. We need to rummage through all of your history and past into painful memories. I'm not really into that. So my attitude, and sometimes it's necessary, sometimes those things come up, but really my attitude is more forward focused and how can we figure out what is the capability of our nervous systems to evolve and grow from this moment forward, right? We all have decades, lifetime of experience of moments where we've been creative, we've solved problems, we've looked at things in new ways, we've woke up one day and felt different than the day before. There are so many things in which that we could focus on in terms of how phenomenal human beings are at change, right? And then very briefly, rather than having one model and one ideology, I've looked at a whole bunch of different methodologies for how people change. We can talk about that another time, but essentially a whole bunch of different ways of looking at how a human being can be thought of as a dynamic system in the world. All right, let's get to it. So the first thing is rather than have a set prompt, I need to move this out of the way so you can see you guys, right? Is to go, well, what would a prompt be about this augmented awakening program? Let's just use this as an example, right? That is uniquely tailored to each of us as individuals. So given what you know about me and the augmented awakening program, so this is the one you guys are going to put in a second, right? Create a starter prompt for me that synergistically matches, i.e. kind of links together the two, the outcome and the goals of the augmented programming and my unique chat history, right? So that, from what I understand, can you actually copy in Zoom from the chat? This is the question. You can? Okay, so there we go. And notice that rather than a huge kind of, that didn't work. Okay, so I'll give you the Google Doc link. One sec. Share, copy. Bum, 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 bum. There we go. Which is what you just saw. And the nice thing here, especially with GPT, is I think the others do it too, is that you can just put in the links. And actually, in the one I just did, I also put in the transcript from the first program. You can really prime it with the information that you would like it to know. And really, what you're doing is, if you can think of it like this, you're creating some priming, so some set of information over here, and then all of your information over here, and you're saying, how do these two interact? Right. So it's this kind of colliding of worlds of different content. Okay. Any
Can I add
questions?
one more thing, Anand?
Yeah, please do.
One thing I like about the frame of what you're talking about is we're entering this world where there's an explosion of information. And it's like, and sometimes I think about what is the function of how will a class change in a world with AI? So one thing I like that you did here is you didn't just use the transcript from the class, you're using the frame or the goals or the intention that's just set up by the class description and then creating prompts for that. And I never thought about doing that, but just the holding place of augmented awakening is a powerful frame
Frame
as well.
itself. Yes. So we are, and this is what leads to awakening is the recognition in every moment that we're looking through a lens. We're not seeing an objective reality, right? And that gradually over time, how many people have woken up one day and they go, oh my God, I've been inside this pattern for the last 5 years or 10 years, right? And you suddenly, quote unquote, awaken from it, right? And then, of course, if you're a normal human being, you start fighting with it and think it shouldn't have been the case and that you wasted your 5 years rather than celebrating the fact that you just popped out of it and that you're moving forward. All right. So what we're going to do is uh, yeah, so if you, question for you, Michael, if um does Claude do the same thing in terms of looking at history? I don't think
No,
it.
it doesn't.
All right.
Not yet.
So for Helen, so what you can do is put in a couple of things about you, maybe your website, maybe like a bio, maybe a couple of things you've written, if that's, and you can do that through a link, so you don't actually have to kind of go and grab it. Does that work, Helen?
Yeah, you could use your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah. Okay. And if you think about today, it's really it's getting away from the promise really, which was I was going to give you this secret prompt that no one can come to themselves, the I've got a secret thing, and handing that over to you and going, actually, this is the teach a man, what's the thing? Give a man a fish he eats for a day, teach a man to fish and he eats for a lifetime. Or what's the other one? Light a fire and light a fire for a man and he'll be warm for a day. Set him on fire and he'll be warm for the rest of his life. No, it's terrible, terrible joke. All right.
Mixed
I can
metaphors.
see people shaking their heads going, oh dear. All right. So first thing is I will show you what happened when I put that in. So you can put that into ChatGPT. Actually, let's just do that. So if you put this exact same, the prompt that you can see, give us a sec, on the screen, right? This from there to there, right? So from that start to that, which is in the Google Doc. And what it will come out with is not an answer. It'll come out with a prompt. So this is my unique prompt, but you will actually get your own prompt. And let's just make sure that happens. Right. So I will read. Let's just do that. So just put that in the prompt and then just let me know that everyone's done that. Perfect. Just chat I was using. Right. So notice even the style. Was that the result, Marlo, when you put that in? Yeah. So notice even the style of hers and how it came out is different to mine. So if I share what I got out of it, right? And this is kind of bordering into the uniqueness of this thing, right? So mine had some points. So mine, I'll just read it to you. Given everything you know about me, from my unique prompting style, systemic worldview and developmental inquiries to the subtle edges I've explored through this Augmented Awakening program, help me surface three foundational assumptions I'm currently perceiving through rather than seeing as objects. These might include hidden structures in how I approach transformation, how I engage with tools like AI, or how I position myself in relation to growth, truth, or the field of awareness itself. For each assumption, give a brief reflection on how it subtly shapes my perception or behavior, a destabilizing question or move that would help loosen or repattern it, a way I could use AI differently, either as a mirror, trickster, or co-creator, to invite a new form of intelligence. Let your response be spacious, perceptive, and field aware. Notice how different that even the pattern, the structure of mine is compared to, and if a couple more people put theirs in, right? I'm using 4.0 for this. Okay, so act as my metacognitive co-pilot for the Augmented Awakening journey. I want you to help me monitor, reflect, and evolve how I think, decide, and create. So you can see that already these are coming out kind of differently, right? For different people, right? And Helen. So this is the prompt we're creating. It's basically a tailored prompt to each individual based on where they are. Yes, Helen.
Oh, this is very basic because I've only work with ChatGPT on my phone, and I go to search in apps on my MacBook. There's a number of different chat GPT options that come up to download.
Yeah, is it a process level question? Is that what you're saying?
Just can someone indicate which of the ChatGPT bots or apps
Yeah,
is
so
the
let
best
me
one?
actually run you through that then. So if I go to ChatGPT, new chat, are you why isn't that? Okay, so are you getting to this page? And I'm not sharing yet. Give me a sec. Are you getting to the kind of starter page?
No, I'm not. Like I say, I've got the ChatGPT app on my phone, but not on my computer, which I'm working on right
I
now
see.
for this course. And then when I go and search in apps, a number of options come up for the various bots and ChatGPT apps. So I'm just wanting support on which one, or maybe, or I don't know if I download all of them.
So oh, I
Are
see.
you
Yeah, go on, Michael.
are you in front of a computer right now, Helen?
Yes, yeah,
Because you don't need to use the app on the computer. You can just go to chatgpt.com.
got it. Okay, thank you.
Thanks,
You're
Michael.
welcome.
And then just take from the Google Doc. Um, the chat, sorry, the starter prompt, making a starter prompt, and then put it in and see what it comes out with. And then just you can share that in the chat. I'll just do that again just so you can see what it did. And we're getting away from the idea of a single answer, right? So you see how when I did it a second time, it came out different. And this is something to get comfortable with rather than set answers. Make sense? All right, so let's just check where people are at. So has everyone got their own unique prompt now? Yeah? Okay. All right. So take that prompt now and put it your own unique starter prompt and put that in. Re-enter it. Now, are you getting a sense of like how when we do something that's kind of uniquely tailored to ourselves, there's kind of more interest in some kind of weird, yeah, yeah. Um, is it Max or is that what had? I like Racer Max. That's kind of cool. Okay. Now, if there's any sense of like, oh, but what if I use this person's prompt or that person's prompt, right? Then the reason this is okay to do is because if we have recursion, if it's iterative, then you're always learning, and wherever you go, there you are. So whatever lens you're looking through right now, is the one that's going to be the most creative for you. Already did that. Okay, cool. All right. So what did people get? Let me share mine. Right. What happened when I did that? Right. So this was actually in the previous one. Here we go. All right. So this was the prompt it gave me. Right. For each assumption off of these things, like your response. And then I put that in. And when I put that prompt in, then I get a much deeper, tailored reflection on the intersection between everything I've done, plus it tailoring to me in how augmented awakening, how the synergy between me and the goals of augmented awakening can be matched together, right? So this will be radically different for everyone here. So I want to go through and maybe a couple of people can share. But number one assumption that I have, so this is unique to me, transformation must be internally coherent before it's externally expressed. So you often navigate from a deeply integrated internal state, preferring to metabolize change fully before it's expressed outwards. This gives your work gravity and precision, yet it also creates a threshold of coherence that can delay expression or prevent early engagement with chaos or half-truths, i.e. the instruction is get messy, right? So you may be perceiving through an unspoken bias that internal messiness should be resolved before relational engagement or visibility. So these now, when I read that, they land very deeply, right? It's kind of, I don't know, we'll get to other people's, but if you're getting a sense of this, it's getting at a core foundational way that I organize my experience of reality, and then allowing that, breathing through the dissonance and the messiness and the ooh kind of feeling, right? Because that's where transformation is occurring at a level that's much deeper than just meaning making and just getting a new idea into our heads, right? So some questions. What if coherence isn't a precondition, but it's a relational emergent property, i.e. coherence is the end result of learning, not at the beginning, right? So what gets to arise if you speak from the fog, not just the clarity? So, and then the AI repatterning move, use AI as the real-time thinking partner, speak from an unresolved place, i.e. get messy, just blurt out some things and ask it to dialogue with your uncertainty, not solve it. Let it reflect your edges before you've named them. Example, here's what I half know, mirror back what wants to be born from this murk, right? Just blurt out some stuff and put it in there. And there's three of them. So I won't go through the others, but so I'll just read the title. AI is a tool best used for precise